This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, welcome back. And it is time now to talk a little Canes with the man, the myth, the legend that is Manny Navarro from The Athletic and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Doing good. Oh, how are you?
Very good, very good. All right, so what is the latest on the recruiting front? What news do we have? Anything brewing?
Well, I mean, Miami's waiting to hear on a couple of high school kids to make announcements today, and they've got some transfers they're trying to add here to the roster. So, Marcus Banks is a cornerback out of Alabama, a guy who Miami has been on for a while. There's the defensive tackle out of Oregon, who's like 6'7", 320 pounds, played for Mario out there. I think his name's Jason Jones, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Jaleel Skinner, who could be making, or who will be announcing his decision. He's a 4-star tight end, one of the best tight ends in the country, who played at Bradenton IMG Academy. He'll be announcing at 1:30. And I mean, there's a bunch of different kids that they're in on, and they're hoping to add to the class here in the next couple, in the next day, because it's the last day of the early signing period.
All right. So, when we talk about, so early signing period. So, walk people through all of this. This
Mm-hmm.
is like the first part of it. So, a lot of kids are going to wait. And what are they waiting for on the second wave?
Well, I mean, essentially, the 3-day early signing period began Wednesday, right? And then what happens is, a lot of kids who maybe didn't get a chance to take official trips to Miami or are in the transfer portal now. At the end of the transfer portal, at the end of their seasons, they want to come and be recruited, right? So you have up until I think even first week of January, the trips start again. Is when kids can start taking official visits again to campuses. And Mario Cristobal talked about that the other day, that they could potentially add somebody the first week of spring ball, or the first week of the spring semester, which is like I think the second or third week of January. So the point is, there's a whole lot of time now starting in January where kids are going to start visiting campuses again, and Miami's going to be in the mix to add guys the first Wednesday in February.
All right. Well, exactly. So, that's where we got to kind of pump the brakes, right? So, in a way, did we get too crazy about this first wave when really Mario has plenty of time to kind of make up for it with that second wave?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even get a job till the week before, right? I mean, he
Right.
had eight days to work with. So, I mean, I don't know how you can expect him to work miracles. I mean, in the end, they lost the two kids that were lowest ranked in their class, a receiver, which there's an abundance of receivers. They could get one from here in South Florida if they needed to. And then the other one was an offensive tackle out of Georgia who signed with, I mean, look, they both signed with SEC schools. But in the end, it's not like you're hurting at the receiver position. It's not like you're hurting. I mean, the offensive line for next year, you had 3 guys you brought in last year that are waiting to start playing. So you have enough depth to survive. It's just going forward. It's for the next few classes. So he's going to be diving in, trying to get guys for the offensive line and defensive line. That's what they feel like they need for the future classes. So I think for now, I mean, look, you had 45 first and second year players, Big O, that signed the last 2 years, guys that have plenty of eligibility left that are going to be the crux of this team for the next 2 years. So really what this is about is preparing yourself for 2023 and 2024 and getting ready for those years, because next year you'll be fine with what you have roster-wise.
Right. And plus, you'll have the transfer portal to
Right.
kind of add because those kids in the transfer portal, they're going to see you lack this position, that position for this season. And this is an opportunity for me to come in and showcase my skills. So, whatever holes Mario has, he's going to, dude, what'd you tell me the other day? There was like 1,100 kids in that. No, or I think it was yesterday that it was Ivans that told me there's like 1,100 kids or something
Yeah.
stupid like that in the portal.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of kids in there, and it's not like you're hurting. I mean, if you really needed positional depth, you could get guys that you could bring in.
Right.
And all this does, to be honest with you, is this gives Mario more time to study the roster, to get to meet kids, to see their mentality, to figure out, hey, do we really need to get somebody for this position, or will this kid suffice for this year? Again, I think Miami's front line, their starters at a lot of positions, they're set. They have quality players at a lot of their starting
Yeah,
spots.
yeah.
The issue is depth and injuries, and where do you really need somebody to add? And there's a lot of freshmen didn't get an opportunity to play a whole lot. I mean, the freshman whose dad played at Miami, the linebacker whose name's escaping me now. I think his last name's Smith. Um, he was great at the end of the year, and you're like, man, where was this kid all year?
Right, right.
He's going to be one of their better linebackers. You're getting Wesley Basaint out of Miami Central, who's a kid you can plug and play right away, get him snaps at the linebacker position. So it's not like Mario took over a dire situation. The problem at Miami was they were underachieving. They were
Right.
losing the teams they shouldn't have lost to.
Right, right.
They shouldn't be giving up 4-14 to FSU, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Mario's here to fix that and to add to the what Manny Diaz had put together, which was two pretty good recruiting classes back to back. This year wasn't loaded because why? A, because Manny wasn't taking a lot of guys. They weren't taking a lot of bodies to begin with, and B, they were trying to wait to see what would pop in the transfer portal too. So
And they've been really successful in the transfer portal. So
right,
I wouldn't blame Manny for trying to say, okay, I can cut a corner here or there by going to the transfer portal and pick up a kid that already
right,
has some experience. All I have to do is now coach him up in our system and make him better, like they have already with several guys. I mean, Roche came in golden that year when you ended up losing Rousseau because he opted out.
yeah. And Phillips played great. I mean,
Yeah, and
you know,
Phillips, great, yeah,
Tyreek Stevenson played great. Rambo played great this year. I mean, you
yeah.
had guys. I mean, the DeAndre Johnson kid was serviceable. I mean, he did his job. He was part of his second in sacks on the team, part of the rotation. I mean, what they need more than anything when I look at it is, they need a bona fide linebacker that could develop. Okay, you could have that kid develop this year already as a first year. It could be the Corey Flagg kid. He may take a huge step up this year. It could be Keontra Smith. It could be the Wesley Basaint kid who comes in and right away makes an impact. It could be the Smith kid who I mentioned earlier, 41. Those kids, to me, you have talent to work with at that position. You'd love to add an experienced, you'd love to add like a Tyreek Stevenson at your linebacker position, somebody who has that kind of experience, somebody who is going to come in and be effective. But again, it's not dire. I think more than anything, add a pass rusher. That's number one. Bring in one more offensive lineman in case Zion Nelson leaves for the NFL draft, and you're probably good roster wise. To be honest with you, I don't think they're that far away from filling all their needs.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen, you know me, man. I don't get too excited about, recruits until
Right.
I actually see them on the field and performing. That's when I start to get excited about players. But I know that we have, our group of people out there that get excited about anything that's a 4 or 5 star. They've never even seen the kid. They don't know him, but they're already going to label him like the next coming, as
Right.
they say. All right, on the coaching front, what are you hearing, my brother? Any new developments since we talked to you on Tuesday on the O and DCs?
Yeah, I mean, just rumors. People keep throwing out, Ken Dorsey, right? Ken Dorsey's going to come back. They're going to bring him in. To me, it's like another Joe Brady situation.
Is he a
Ken
recruiter? Right, that's what I was going
is
to
he
ask.
is he going to recruit, or does he like calling plays in the NFL? And I've said this on your show. When I talked to Ken Dorsey last year, what did he tell me? I love coaching in the NFL. Some guys just want to coach in the NFL. They don't want to deal with kids, man. They don't want
But
to deal with
remember,
that stuff.
we got these blind ass fans that they live on this. We live in the past. And so we keep thinking that if we just grab somebody from the past, that'll fix everything. But
Right,
we don't ask the person if they're interested. We don't know if the person's really qualified, like Alonzo Highsmith or Gino Torretta as ADs. Like, yeah, they've never done that. You do know that, right? And so here's the other thing about Ken Dorsey. I love Ken Dorsey. I know he's got a great mind. I know he was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But I've also watched Ken Dorsey. I don't know if he's got the kind of personality that's going to walk in and win mama or daddy over on recruiting visits too. So I don't even know if he can recruit. You know what I mean? I know he can coach, but I think people don't really understand that in college you kind of need to have a little bit of both, and you got to have a little personality so you can go out there and sell yourself and sell the program.
And one aspect to this all that people don't think enough about is, there's a lot of coaches who pour their heart and soul into recruiting kids, and when they don't get them, the devastation, the rejection that they feel, a lot of those guys, that's why they want to go coach in the pros. They don't want to deal with kids, hey,
Right.
I'm going to enter the transfer portal. Hey, I'm not happy about coaches don't want to deal with that. They'd rather get the NFL money, be one of the 80 guys on an NFL staff, right? And collect a paycheck than to deal with the aggravation of dealing with kids. And I'm not saying Ken Dorsey's that way, but I just think fans need to realize that the coaching pool in college, I think, is going to get smaller and smaller because of NIL, because of the transfer portal, because these guys
Good point.
invest all this time and energy to get these players, only to have them leave or to ditch them at the last. I mean,
They're stinking
it's
brats and they just want to leave. And you're like, you know what? I'd rather deal with a grown ass man that understands, dude, you signed the contract. Here you go. Play or get the hell out of here. And that's it. We'll move
right.
on. We'll get the next guy. And having to cater to a whiny little 19-year-old and you're a 45, 55, 60-year-old man. Yeah, dude, that's kind of degrading, actually.
It
You know what
is,
I'm
and
saying?
I think we're going to see the talent pool of coaches decrease in college football for that reason. Look, there's always going to be guys who are going to take the money, right? Who are going to take the 95 million. There's going to be a Mel Tucker around somewhere to collect a 95 million
But
dollar paycheck.
that's why the key word you said was talent pool. There'll
Right.
be pool, but it's going to be a dirty ass pool that you find somewhere in a broken down neighborhood because they didn't fix the pool and it's got that green water. Yeah, that's the pool you're going to have of your coaches in college. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that's why this whole thing with Mario and all the coaches. I mean, look, I've heard. I can share the rumors with you. I can't verify any of them, but I've heard that the defensive line coach from Oregon, who we thought was only going to stay on the West Coast, would never come over here. Somebody's mentioned to me, well, he's going to be the defensive line coach. Then somebody tells me, oh, the wide receivers coach that he has at Oregon, he's coming with him too. And then now it's, well, maybe he's not coming. I'll just tell people this, Big O. When it comes to all this stuff, just trust the fact that Miami spent a boatload of money on Mario Cristobal and they promised him money for assistance. He's going to have a good staff. We could sit here and just talk about names all day and speculate and who's to me, one way or the other, this guy at a certain point, once the bowl games are over and these coaches who are at other top schools that are playing in important games are done, I think after that we'll get some answers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he's already got his own answers. It's
Right.
just nobody's talking, and the men that have that job, they're not going to say anything, and they're going to do their jobs where they're at right now, finish, be
Mm-hmm.
professionals, and then when everything is done and you've completed your responsibilities, then you will then take care of business, and that's why you're not hearing any names. That
Mm-mm.
tells me that things are pretty situated. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it would be more chaotic if you would hear about Mario running around the country trying to find coaches. The fact that you're not hearing anything tells me that everything's already being done behind the scenes, and it's exactly what you said. Once the bowl games are over and everybody's committed their responsibilities, then now they can move on and be professionals and tell their current employers, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm moving on. I'm going here," and then Miami will be able to announce it. Because for me, that's what I've been thinking. The fact that it's so quiet, that tells me that Mario's got this under control mostly. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
To me, he's got to have some sort of agreement, verbal agreements in place with guys who have told him, hey, I'll come and talk to you as soon as the bowl game's over. We'll talk money, this and that, and we'll finish this thing quickly. I mean, that's the way these things usually work. And the other thing I'll say is,
As we say in Spanish, ten cuidado that he didn't have those agreements before he even agreed to be the coach at Miami. Ten
right,
cuidado.
right. I mean, listen, these guys, they're well connected, and they all, and people don't understand. Oh, like, I know people are like, oh man, these coaches don't like each other. These guys, this is like a fraternity for these guys. You go to those coaching conventions, oh, and they're all buddies. They're
Yeah,
all friends because they need to be friends because one day that guy might need to hire me because I'm out of a job.
right.
So, like,
This is why I've repeated this over the years, Manny, and I try to educate people out there. When they say a coach, oh, that guy's got fired, oh, that guy got fired, and he got hired, and he got hired, and he got hired, and he got hired, and then they think, oh, that guy's a bad coach. No, you idiot, that guy's a really good coach. if he's gotten 7 different jobs on 7 different teams or programs, it's because he has a good resume. It's not his fault that whatever happened where he was at, but he moved on and he was a linebackers coach for this guy and that guy and this guy. That's a good coach. And along the way, you build a Rolodex because you get to know other head coaches, other systems, other assistant coaches. And that's been the problem for the Dolphins. Joe Philbin and now the current guy in Brian Flores, both were stuck either in Green Bay or New England their entire careers. The fact that they didn't get fired and hired 87 times like a lot of other coaches and bounced around the league, it actually hurt them. They have no Rolodex. That's why they both have struggled to build staffs because they don't know enough people around the league. And it's what you're talking about. When you go to these conventions and they're all around, it's because half of them have worked with each other already. And the other half are waiting to work with the other half anyways eventually because you're only hired to be fired in those kind of businesses. So it is actually a great thing for the coach that worked at Utah and North Carolina and Miami and Texas. That's the guy you want. He's been recruiting all over the country. He knows coaches all over the country. He knows systems all over the country. He is more well versed than the guy that is stuck in one system and one coaching staff his entire career and then has to leave. Oh my God. It's like the kid that leaves home and goes to college for the first time and he doesn't know anything. It's exactly that.
And let's not forget here what you have in Mario Cristobal, somebody who worked with Nick Saban for 4 years, who knows all of the great coaches in college football, who came to Nick Saban asking for a job.
Exactly.
Right? Asking, hey, can I be an analyst on your staff? Hey, I'm out of a job this year. Can I? So that's why I'm not in the least bit worried. Mario A has money, which is the most important factor, right? He's been promised.
Amen.
And B, he's well connected. So if I'm a Miami fan, yes, the talent pool is smaller. You should know that. The talent pool for coaches is going to be smaller. Guys don't want to coach in college, and if they do, it's because they really love it. And B, he's going to get somebody good. Like, I'm not in the least bit worried. There's going to be improvements to the staff. And I would say for everybody, well, what about this position? Don't forget that every coordinator has their own group of guys that they want to bring with them. So that's why none of these positions have been filled yet in terms of publicly.
That's why I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's why it's so quiet. It's deadly. I love it. I love it. He's like the cobra, just working his way, and that's what he's going to do. And you're going to watch that. It's going to be one fell swoop. After everything is done, you're going to hear offense, defense, and he's going to have it all planned out because he's an organized guy, man. He was around Saban, and don't you think that he's developed a relationship? He didn't leave like UM got all bitter because he left for a better job, which UM obviously was in the wrong on that. You should never ever wish anybody bad when they're actually trying to improve themselves. You should encourage it and support it. And that's what UM should have done at that time. Don't you think Saban's a guy that he can actually use as a reference and call and
Saban might even tell him, hey, take this analyst off my staff. He'd be a great coordinator for you. You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And Mario's that guy. He's a relationship guy. He's organized. He's one of those guys that people are going to want to work for. And plus, you mentioned it. He's got the money and the power now here at the U, which is something nobody ever had. So now, if you have that breeding ground of talent, and now you're giving all the resources finally, oh my God, that's it, dude. The rubber's met the road. It's over now. Now the U has everything it actually really needs in order to succeed in modern college football. And all those assistant coaches, they're going to know that.
And by the way, I mean, not every school hires coaches right away. Like, it doesn't happen instantaneously where the head coach comes in and he's got a staff. And sometimes it takes 5-6 weeks to get everything squared away.
Yeah.
In the end, as long as he's got a full staff in April, in March, when everybody's there ready to coach, you're fine.
I'm with you there. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. More importantly, subscribe to The Athletic and support him and the great writers who do a great job of covering locally, nationally, and internationally with a little football there. Manny, as always, my brother, thank you. We will check in on Tuesday with the latest developments with the Canes. I appreciate you.
No problem, brother. I'll be at the high school football state championships up here at the soccer stadium, watching the two Miami Central and St. Thomas Aquinas, and that linebacker Wesley Basaint, who I told you about. So
Should be fun. Should be
Yep.
fun. Enjoy yourself, my brother. Thank you.
all right, man. Take care. See ya.
You got it. There he is, Manny Navarro, man. Good stuff. Our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.